Afternoon, you guys. This is Monty once again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. Today is Sunday afternoon, and looks like it's going to be nice and bright sunny afternoon, which is great. So, how are you guys doing? I hope everything's going fine for you. I'm not going to be doing much today, me myself. I'm a fast. Me and my family, we fast on Sunday. Every Sunday we fast. Excuse the noise for a second. So yeah, we fast every Sunday, and that means we just drink water, and then we can start eating normally again Monday. But definitely we have to purge our bodies, cleanse ourselves, and let our bodies get a chance to, excuse the noise, 1 second. You let your body get a chance to detoxify and get out some of the, the toxins and poisons and pollutants and all that, hopefully out of your fatty tissue and whatnot. There's a whole lot to be said about fasting, and we have a tremendous amount of information on the website regarding fasting. So anyway, you may want to try that out. Look into it, see. There's intermittent fasting and regular fasting, and then variations, a number of variations. I guess we got a lot of wind noise also. Let's see, I got to find a place where we can do the podcast where it's not so much wind. But definitely today looked like a beautiful day to relax and take it easy. My wife will go to the farmer's market and get some fruits and vegetables for the week, and I'll just relax and take a nap later on. I worked out like a dog, of course, in the gym yesterday. I only did about 4 hours, I think, including my sauna and stretching, my yoga stretching. So that takes its toll out on me. So Sundays, while I'm fasted, I have to recuperate from the workout on Saturdays. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, my name is Monty Henry. Glad you asked. I run a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products. We have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. We have the largest variety of state-of-the-art, law enforcement grade, lifetime guaranteed and warranted products on the website. The products are definitely backed by our 24/7, 365 customer sales and tech support policies. In addition to that, we accept Bitcoin. And speaking of cryptocurrencies, you can spend your Bitcoin, your Litecoin, and other cryptocurrencies on the website. Let's see. This wind is going to be a problem. Let's see. So in addition to that, spend your Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Bcash on our website in the shopping cart. And let's see what else. When I get out of the wind here, we updated the website, redesigned it rather, so that it's prepared for the next 5 years, hopefully 10 years maybe. And that includes a total redesign, a total makeover, including the ability to accept cryptocurrencies and such. Completely optimized for mobile. We're probably going to do some SEO works, search engine optimization work in the very near future also. Even though I think, considering the economic environment, that'll probably be another waste of time, including the thousands of dollars that I spent on the website. It just seems like people aren't prepared to spend the type of money that they used to spend. Keep reading about all sorts of brick and mortar stores going out of business. The mattress firm, the largest mattress manufacturer in the United States, is going out of business, followed by Chapter 11. Toys R Us look like they're going to be going out of business. They may have gotten a lifeline, but they're struggling. They probably won't last very long. That includes Sears and JCPenney. Just a number of firms. J.P. Morgan Chase, their mortgage division is going to lay off 400 people. Wells Fargo is going to let go 25,000 people. What other firm? Verizon is going to let go of 44,000 people. Ford Motor Company is going to let go probably, I would say, minimum 60, 70,000 people. So there's a lot of people, not to mention other companies that I didn't have time to mention. So I don't care what your favorite politician or your president of the United States is saying, or anybody else is saying about a booming economy. When you have major layoffs across the board in various sectors, like what I'm reporting here, and not to mention the ones that you guys know about yourselves, that's not a sign of a booming economy. That's a sign of an economy preparing for a recession. Okay, you just don't have this many people being laid off, and shopping malls are closing like crazy. There's going to be an abundance of shopping malls that are going to be closing. You're probably familiar with some of the ones in your local areas as well. So anyway, use your common sense. You pay attention to what you see in front of you as compared to what people are saying out of Washington. These people paint the most stupid pictures of what's going on, and then they want you to ignore what you see and what you know is going on in the real world. So anyway, what else is going on? Look like Kavanaugh is nominated, so you're going to have some very conservative rulings. But of course, if people themselves don't have faith in the government, don't have faith in the currency, then it's a moot issue, right? Because you're going to embrace cryptocurrencies, you're going to embrace your own sovereignty, you're going to move out of the United States, you're going to just make plans and preparations to do what you got to do to keep your family thriving and surviving. That may include going off the grid, that may include, dual passport citizenship where you can just move to another country or something if need be. So anyway, people are going to have to just take matters into their own hands. What's today's topic? This topic also puts emphasis on the wealth disparity that comes about when you have major corporations and different wealthy individuals and such who basically have all the financial resources, and they're taking the financial resources from the masses. When the general population is taken advantage of, and all the financial resources just go to the more wealthy families, then this is what happens. You have a major wealth disparity. Anyway, this article is titled, "A Retirement Wealth Gap Adds a New Indignity to Old Age." Again, a retirement wealth gap adds a new indignity to old age. Many middle-class Americans are financially unprepared for retirement, and that is leading to an array of social tensions. Santa Rosa, California. On a Saturday morning in a retirement paradise, Ken Heyman stepped out to his front porch and found a brown paper bag. Inside was a chopped-off head of a rat. Mr. Heyman was acting president of the Homeowners Association at Oakmont Village, an enclave in Northern California wine country for people aged 55 and older. For months, the community had battled over the unlikeliest of topics, pickleball, a game that is a mix of tennis, badminton, and ping pong. Some residents wanted to build a pickleball court complex that would cost at least $300,000. Others didn't, saying they didn't want to see their dues go up. Residents shouted at each other at town hall gatherings, One confrontation got so heated that a resident called the police. The governing board appointed a security guard to keep order at meetings. For many, of course, the issue wasn't really about pickleball. It was about a divide that had opened between wealthier residents who moved to the village more recently and the less well-off who said clubhouse updates, new fees, and expensive amenities would be budget busters. Mr. Heyman's predecessor as president was a leader of the anti-pickleball faction. She felt she had been chased out of office by pickleball partisans. On the paper bag was a note. "You're next," it read, according to a police report. Around 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day, and the same number will continue doing so for years. Some are on solid financial ground after a lifetime of planning and the fortune of well-timed home purchases and stock investments. Most of the rest are unprepared. 54% of households with middle incomes ranging from around $48,000 to $95,000 a year don't have enough saved to maintain their quality of life in retirement. According to the Boston College Center for Retirement Research, some of those who saved were hit by unforeseen healthcare costs. Others took on debt for education. Yet more made investment mistakes or lost their savings in the 2008 financial crisis. Those wildly different circumstances are leading to hard-to-resolve social tensions, which are playing out every day at retirement communities across the country. In Oakmont, the issue was pickleball. Founded in 1963, Oakmont Village was long an option for the middle class that benefited from California's rising real estate values. They can move into attached duplexes or triplexes or wood-sided single-family ranch-style homes and enjoy 3 swimming pools, a lawn bowling green, honor system lending library, and the 130-plus clubs and activities. Living near one another is an increasingly popular option for retirees. The population of the U.S.'s 442 federally designated retirement destination counties rose 2% last year, compared with a national average of 0.7% according to the Census Bureau figures. Retirement communities often provide social connections that can fray when people leave the workplace, live alone, or have families spread across the country. Steve Spanier, the current president of Oakmont's homeowners board, said the Mountain View community started moving more upscale in recent years when retiring baby boomers in San Francisco and Silicon Valley discovered it on weekend wine tasting trips to Sonoma County. Coming from places where real estate prices are especially high, they began buying and gutting homes. The community has about 4,700 residents. The community now splits nearly into 2 camps. Some believe it should only fix things that break, he says. Then there are people like the people who are starting to move in. They have a lot of money and want to live the lifestyle to which they become accustomed, and they want to do it here, he says. People are having more trouble getting along. The October wildfires that tore through Northern California's wine country last year fleetingly eased the divisions, said Mr. Spanier. The fires forced Oakmonters to temporarily evacuate and destroyed 2 of the village's roughly 3,200 homes. The fitness center sold Oakmont Strong t-shirts, and the mood mellowed for a bit. It got better for a period of time, he says, then that feeling of unity created by the fire left. Homes in the resident-owned Oakmont Village fetch between $350,000 for smaller dwellings up to about $1.2 million for ranch-style homes that had been remodeled by wealthy newcomers. A few years ago, $1 million sales were unheard of. After renting in 2015, Iris Harrell sold her part of the remodeling company she founded in Mountain View, California, and says she is never going to have to worry about money. She and her wife, Ann Benson, sold their home in Silicon Valley for $3.8 million and bought a hillside ranch home in Oakmont for about $800,000. They raised the roof to allow for windows tall enough for a view of the top of nearby Hood Mountain so they can age at home. They installed an elevator and added 1,300 square feet of space, including a spacious wing that could house a live-in caretaker. Ms. Harrell now calls the wing the best guest suite in Oakmont. We're spoiled, and we know it, but it just worked out for us, says the fit 71-year-old. She became the chairwoman of Oakmont's Building Construction Committee and set about trying to also refurbish the 55-year-old community. You can't be premier and look like the 1960s, Ms. Harrell said. It's not making the statement we want. She says that retirees moving in, post Googleites, she calls them, are willing to pay for better amenities, and that Oakmont's future shouldn't be dictated by the small minority who aren't willing. She suggested those pinched for money should look into reverse mortgage, a reverse mortgage. Oakmont resident Gary O'Shaughnessy, who lives in a unit of a triplex down the hall from Miss Harrell's house, calls that suggestion insensitive. That attitude I can't live with, he says. A former school bus driver for disabled children, Mr. Sean O'Shaughnessy, says a diagnosis of Parkinson's led him to retire in his 60s earlier than planned. While he was working, he rented a house in Santa Rosa. He bought his place in Oakmont for $280,000 in 2010 with the help from an inheritance from his mother and $50,000 from his own retirement account. He is single and 71 and has only $40,000 in savings. His monthly income is around $2,000 from Social Security and a small pension. He says he typically walks dogs 7 days a week to make ends meet. His bills include a mortgage, supplemental medical insurance, and more than $300 in monthly dues at Oakmont. Everyone in the resident-owned community pays $67 a month per person to the Oakmont Association, up from about $58 last year. Households pay another $220 a month on average to various sub-neighborhood associations for services such as water or landscaping. Mr. O'Shaughnessy started attending meetings and signing petitions as plans backed by Ms. Harrell and others proceeded for a roughly $300,000 tournament-quality pickleball complex with tiered spectator seating. There was a big fight and it kind of divided the community, he says. The people who have money just want to throw it around, but there are a lot of people on fixed incomes. A 2015 survey sponsored by the Oakmont Association found that 48% of residents said they were very or somewhat concerned about their current financial needs. That figure rose to 57% for those under age 66. Overall, 52% were not at all concerned. We are an extremely wealthy community, resident Vince Taylor, a former software company owner, said during an open forum at an association meeting in March 2017. We shouldn't be acting like a poverty community. Mr. Taylor, who was 81 and retired, says he has more than $1 million in his retirement savings and lives off investment earnings without touching the principal. His public comments provoked discussion on Nextdoor, an online neighborhood social networking service. A discussion titled Disparity of Wealth in Oakmont drew nearly 80 comments. One Oakmont resident suggested retirees with tight budgets get jobs. Another, Bob Starkey, a 69-year-old renter and retired museum director, wrote that illness had depleted his savings and that he lived with anxiety his car might die. Please remember that pensions had become a thing of the past, wrote Margaret Babin, a retired home daycare worker who is 62 and is selling her collection of French Quimper pottery on eBay to pay for extras. At some events, I feel out of place, and even though I shouldn't because I'm okay, she says, noting that she sees more fancy cars in the community, the separation seems to be getting wider and wider. By early 2017, she and other frustrated residents had organized behind a slate of candidates who aimed to win a majority on the homeowners board and halt the pickleball project, which had been approved by Oakmont leaders but not yet built. On the morning of April 3rd, a phone call woke up Miss Babin. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, she recalls. One day before the votes would be tallied in the election, a bulldozer was breaking ground on the pickleball complex. Supporters and detractors rushed over. One resident called the Santa Rosa Police Department at 7:24 a.m. to report a verbal disturbance at Oakmont. There is a heated argument going on at this time, the police report said. An officer who went to the scene wrote there were two warring factions over a pickleball court. The next day, the candidates opposing the pickleball complex were victorious. Construction stopped. We face some of the same challenges as the rest of our state and our country, Alan Lesnick, the new president, said at a public association meeting days later. One such challenge is the disparity of wealth in our memberships. Some pickleball proponents rose to defend themselves. We're not the mean, vicious, and entitled people our opponents and next-door critics would have you believe, one speaker said. Oakmont eventually converted 2 existing tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts at a fraction of the cost. The new board ushered in a tone of frugality and oversight that some saw as heavy-handed. Rhetoric at public meetings grew so hostile that the board brought in a security guard to keep order. Why don't we just wait till we're all dead? An Oakmont man who favored the pickleball complexes declared at one meeting. Guess what? Oakmont is our last stop. The train ends here. This is Hotel California. Ms. Lesnick, a 60-year-old former lawyer who retired early because of a disability, resigned less than 4 months after she became president in July 2017. She said she had heart palpitations from the stress that left her ally, Mr. Heyman, an acting president. The next month, at 9:15 on August 12th, the police again got a call from Oakmont, this time from Mr. Heyman, who is 61, still works in corporate communications. On Mr. Heyman's porch sat a bag containing the chopped-off head of a rat, according to the police report. It freaked me out, says Mr. Heyman. He says he has no doubt the rat served as a retribution for killing the pickleball project and for the disputes that followed. At an association meeting soon after, another board member likened the battle being waged at Oakmont to Armageddon. Mr. Heyman left the board and later moved out of Oakmont. There were clearly sides. One side felt that we're an active adult community and it's our responsibility to provide activities and facilities to the membership, said Oakmont resident Al Madero, 71, who now sits on the board. He counts himself in that group, which he says had been vilified. The other side seems to think, well, we're poor, so we really need to make sure our dues don't go up, and we should just provide the minimum, he says. In February, the board discussed remodeling a dated auditorium where hundreds of events, from dances to movies to meetings, take place every year. Some residents talked about constructing a new center and repurposing the old one into a state-of-the-art gym. The board also is weighing a divisive request from the private golf club that borders many homes in the retired community. The club is asking all Oakmont residents, golfers or not, to pitch in to help the club meet economic challenges. Someone suggested $5 a person every month. Mr. Spanier, the new board president, says it could potentially make pickleball look like a tiny issue. Well, that's it for that particular article, you guys. I think this really addresses the larger picture that we've been talking about for a while, that I've been talking about, the wealth disparity between the haves and the have-nots. This includes baby boomers and such who are retiring. A large percentage of them are not very well prepared. Unfortunately, bad timing for investments in real estate, bad timing for investments in stocks and such made a major difference with these people. On the other hand, as you can see, a number of baby boomers are these same people. They did very well, selling their businesses, good investments in real estate, excellent investments in stocks and such, and they want to live their remaining years out in comfort with a lot of the same standard of living that they were accustomed to. This is what happens when they move into the retired communities. You live the lifestyle that you're capable of living financially. If that means penny pinching, unfortunately, that's what you do. If that means being extravagant or a little bit eccentric or something, then that's what you do when you have more money. So anyway, think about what's happening in your local type of retirement communities, whether or not you're going to be experiencing a situation where there's conflict and such as a result of financial issues going on, or standards of living and such. As I like to say at the conclusion of every podcast, you guys keep your eyes and ears open and be safe out there. Bye.